Leah was on commentary for the women's ODI the other day and did a great job.
But are they set up to manage remote commentary as well?
Yeah.
Ah, well.
Leah was in Germany, so I'm presuming she didn't go down to Johannesburg to commentate.
Well, I can tell you, well, that's a very good point, and yes, she was. I can tell you a number of them. Simon's joining us, Tim's joining us, and Poe is joining us. As this one is pushed away to mid-on by Jason Roy, and there's no run. It's the end of that chamois over. Second for him, and he hasn't yet to take a wicket, but crucially for India, and indeed for England, Mohammad Siraj has. He's had both the wickets of Root and Johnny Bairstow. So England are 14 for 2. Messers.
So Sally R 56. Oh, hold on. The Facebook is up again.
Yeah, so should be YouTube.
YouTube is up again too.
Yeah, no, I saw that. There's all sorts of things going. It's like I'm trying to watch cricket whilst at the same time watching things happening in front of me.
Farang says, hope everyone's well. Ball faced by Kohli. England 2022, 1 Test 59, 1 ODI 25, 2 T20s 9 equals 93 balls, shorter than the normal net session. The only way he can get into form is by playing matches. He should be honest and take a 2-month sabbatical from cricket. That's sort of self-contradictory, I think, Farang. Leah says, here's one for the pawn, but Shreyas' surname is pronounced the same as the German plural of eggs, common slang for gonad.
Siraj is in, and that one swings into Ben Stokes, the left-hander, who plays it rather nicely, actually, just steers it to mid-off, where Hardik Pandya does the fielding. But again, some real movement in the air there.
Yeah, that's right. It's wonderful bowling here from Siraj. We saw him doing a few little warm-up stretches there just between the overs. So I think he's making sure that his hamstrings are nice and loose because Bumrah's out with a back spasm, I think. Is it a back spasm? I think
it is a back spasm for
Jasprit
Bumrah. Yep. 14 for 2. Siraj bowling from the pavilion end, bowling to Ben Stokes, who comes down the track, launches in, but he's rather top-edged it. Has he got enough? He just clears mid-off, who is Pandya, who then slips and ends up on his Bryden cast, I'm afraid, and doesn't look too happy about it. It will get Stokes a rather fortuitous 2 runs, but I'm not sure he deserved it.
No, it was a shocking shot, really mistimed. He hardly sent it far enough to clear the circle, and it was a definite danger of being caught there by the close in fielder.
But it means Stokes has moved on to 3, 16 for 2 England. Remember, India
and Jason Roy, after looking extremely good early on, has slowed down a little bit. I suppose he needs to be a bit careful here. We don't want another wicket.
Well, in comes Siraj from that pavilion end, and this one is dabbed really away through cover by Stokes, and all the way with hardly any effort at all for one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That outfield is incredibly fast.
Isn't it?
The fours are barely hit, and they're racing away to the boundary.
If anything, that was almost a defensive shot from Stokes. He did angle the bat, and he was, let's say, he was very aware of where his field was. So Siraj has gone for 6 now after that storming first over that took 2 wickets. In he comes. This one is crashed, but crashed a backward point by Stokes. So
nicely fielded.
No run on this occasion. Well, I'm not sure he could get out of the way. It came at him that quickly. But yes, you're right. It was well fielded. 20 for 2 England. 2 balls left, the 4th over.
And who knows how hot it is, but Ben Stokes already looks like his temperature is about 58 degrees. He's bright red, and I'm not sure he'll survive another over.
He'll explode.
Yeah.
Siraj in, clipped. Oh, just wide of mid-wicket. It will go for 4 more. It was in the air, but it is still 4 runs. Yuzvendra Chahal positively took off in his attempt to field that. We'll have a look. How close was he?
Leap in the air.
Former chess player. You don't have to get much occasion to do that during a game of chess.
No.
Knights
if you're trying to castle, you might.
Well, castle, yes. knight or hook to prawn one in mid-air with a double axel. It doesn't tend to happen. Siraj in, bat dropped on it by Stokes. Fielded by, I'm pretty sure that must be Virat Kohli. Was it Kohli? Because the cameras just loved him as he came in. 24 for 2. It's the end of that over. 2 for 10 for Siraj. Roy on 13. Stokes on 11. Messi Jez.
Mog says, well, this is turning into a strange kind of shambles. He also says Mafol is a delightful man. Indeed he is. I'm not sure how well he'll handle the slightly more colourful language that we tend to get in guerrilla cricket as opposed to guerrilla cricket South Africa, but it'll be interesting. Farong says the collapse is on. May not pass the Kohli 93 ball benchmark the way things are going. And Brian 001 says, morning, I'm just a few minutes late, but already 2 wickets down. Barbecue time in Northampton with 39 degrees expected.
Ooh.
I've got chicken wings and lamb ribs marinated, bread proving, beer in the fridge and guerrilla cricket on the radio.
Well, I'm not sure you're going to need the barbecue, to be honest. I think you just leave him out on your front drive and that'll do the job for him. As this one is pulled by Jason Roy, pulled to mid-wicket and pulled for 4 runs. Dropped short by Shami this time, Cat, and was there to be hit again, wasn't it?
Incredible percentage of this innings of 28 runs that he's already taken in 4s. And the ball is getting to the boundary in about a second. It is incredible.
Oh, well, yeah, there's certainly, England won't have any issue with the run rate and the way that they're scoring. They will just probably with the 2 in the wickets column, as this one is just dabbed really towards square leg. And just a single on this occasion for Jason Roy will bring Ben Stokes back onto strike.
Yeah, Ben Stokes doesn't look too dangerous just yet. He's hit a couple of mishits, but at the moment he's looking okay for 11 from 8 deliveries and Roy 18 from 12. And I think it's about 90% of their runs is in 4s so far. Maybe it's just over 80% now.
29 for 2. 35% he bowls full, 49, nearly 50% on a good length, Shami. And the good length ones have been okay. That one was being an example, and Stokes has just guided it away to extra cover. There's no run. So he's given away 19 runs, has Mohamed Shami. It has been in the 50% that weren't the good balls. None of the good ones have been put away. That one was a superb delivery. Inside edge, yes it was! Ben Stokes now has to go, or are we looking at...
I think that was previous innings.
It was, thank goodness for that.
Gotcha, Tony.
As ever.
Gotcha.
Well, that one does come in. It's a big shout from Shami. I think that was a huge inside edge, though, from Ben Stokes. And Shami, it was a strangled appeal. And
he played it straight into his box and he didn't even flinch.
He did. Yeah, well, there you go. He's made of stern stuff.
Yeah.
or his boxes.
Well, actually, I'm not sure he got any bat on it, to be honest. It came off his inner thigh onto his Crown Jewels protector. But either way... It was
I'm sure there were a couple of swear words there.
Yeah. Good bruise as well.
Well, as we speculate on the damage to the Stokesian tackle. 29 for 2. 2 balls left of this 5th over. Shami around the wicket, down the track comes Stokes, fielded superbly by Pandya at mid-off. It's not Hardik Pandya actually. I'm not sure who it was.
I don't know who that was.
It's Prasid Krishna.
Oh, Krishna, yeah. Beautiful pair of sunshades on him.
Right,
He's sort of almost gold in colour.
It was indeed. It was a bit uppish from Ben Stokes, but pitched well short of him. But again, India very lively about their work in the field. This is, after all, a decider. It's a final of sorts. They do know that coming away with out of defeat in a 3-format series in any of the formats is something they don't do very often. I think they did it in 2018, but it was 1986 before then. As this one is steered by Jason Roy. That one shouldn't make it to the boundary. It was away through mid-wicket. They've taken 2. They may come back for 3. No, they're not. Stokes puts up a big left hand and tells Jason Roy to stay where he is. Roy on 20. Stokes on 12. He will have strike because it's the end of that chamois over. England on 32 for 2, Messrs.
I'm still dealing with the concept of Stokesian tackle. It sounds like a prop for a Shakespearean comedy. Diana Patterson says, how dare you suggest that guerrilla cricket South Africa is not technologically advanced? Despite blackouts and other challenges, they rock.
Well, they do. I'm not saying they don't. I just wasn't sure whether they were set up for remote. But then, of course, with Lennox Lear doing it from Germany, then clearly they are. But what I don't know, even though they've said they're coming onto our show, which is great, whether we're going on to their show or maybe I haven't had an invite.
Ticklish Ain, well, we swear too much, Tony, that's what it is. Ticklish Ain has a particularly interesting conspiracy theory. Fucking Poms want to collapse to a low score just to deny Kohli his century.
That's a bit harsh. Mohamed Siraj, well, not surprisingly, is continuing. He's taken the 2 wickets to fall. He's over the wicket, it's down leg, it's swished at by Stokes, and it should, I think, be given a wide, and indeed it is. So one more to the score for England. That's Martin Saggers, I think, isn't it? Looks like Saggers and Illingworth, based on visual recognition rather than anything Cricinfo was able to tell us in advance.
I mean, that was a wide, but it was a bit of a waste.
It is.
Stokes should have really been putting that away. There's no fielders there behind square, and really it sat up there and it should have been hit. He really just missed it.
Yeah, he will feel he probably missed out on that, did Ben Stokes. 2 slips still in place. Hardik Pandya is going through some warm-ups. Whether that means we'll see him in a minute, I don't know. Back foot from Stokes, push towards mid-wicket. No run. 33 for 2.
A little bit awkwardly defended, that one.
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty shot, was it? It was sort of a back, sort of both feet back jump. It was solid enough, but not pretty. Farouk Engineer is looking sort of rather portly and, dare one say it, a man who might enjoy the odd glass of whiskey or something these days. This one is bounced by Siraj, and Stokes drops the bat underneath it and went through the motions of a pull that he had no intention of executing, and it's a dot ball. Not sure who that is. No, who's that up next to Farouk? Any recognise anyone there, Messrs?
No, but Farouk Engineer is 84 years old. I just looked him up. He's doing pretty well.
Well, I'd be happy to be like that at 84, watching cricket. Full head of hair, swept back, looking still pretty elegant. Lovely jacket. He's looking in good order. Although, as I say, he does look like he might enjoy the good life.
Yes. Well, it's lots of preservatives.
As Siraj has to pull out of this. I think there's some movement behind the bowler's arm. Ben Stokes nods a sort of apology to Siraj, who's bowling for the pavilion end. And
we were saying before, I think when you were on the phone, that's Jeff Lemon who keeps standing up, and that's why they keep pulling out.
Interesting.
Actually, I think it was a butterfly. Was it a butterfly that he was annoyed about? That is the funniest distraction ever if it was a butterfly.
It's a butterfly. Butterflies are free to fly, but preferably not distracting batsmen while they're doing it. This one is absolutely crunched towards cover and no run. 33 for 2.
It looked a lot better than it actually was, and I think Ben Stokes quite rightly thinks that all he has to do is get a tiny bit of wood on it and it'll go to the boundary, but the fielders are well placed.
There's Shikhar Dhawan, who's the man there in the covers. Siraj and Hardik are in a deep conversation. Stokes and Siraj were in quite an interesting conversation. I think it might have been about what type of butterfly it was. Do you think they're lepidopterists on the quiet, the pair of them? It was definitely a cabbage white, says Ben Stokes. No.
Yeah.
There's this one is dabbed down to third man quite deftly by Ben Stokes, because he'd skipped forward and I think he was looking to pull, and he'd come forward so far he left himself no room to do that, so he very quickly adapted and glided the ball down to third man. So full marks for being able to adapt on the fly, as it were. Played that nicely, Kat, didn't he?
Yeah, played quite nicely. He certainly stepped right away from that and gave himself plenty of room. He knows where all of the gaps are in the field.
The bowling think tank is quite active, I've noticed. Every ball, Hardik Pandya and Mohamed Siraj are having quite a discussion about what the best thing to bowl is. Which, interestingly, I hadn't noticed happening when he was busily taking 2 wickets. So maybe, I'm not sure if Hardik's necessarily helping. As we wait for Siraj. Onto the back foot goes Jason Roy this time. Guides towards cover, no run. One ball left of Siraj's third over. The sixth of the innings we're in, of course, the first power play. They lost to Australia
That was a
last
slightly
time
fuller
here,
delivery again, I think, from Siraj.
Yeah. In fact, they lost all three. Didn't they have all three against Australia here for COVID reasons? I think they played the whole series at Old Trafford. England lost the last of them, and they lost that series 2-1. Before that, of course, they thumped Afghanistan with Owen Morgan's 17 sixes in the World Cup. It was the only game England played here in the World Cup, was that game against Afghanistan. India played several more. I'll have a look at how they did in a minute. This one is fuller by Siraj, and Roy angles it away through point for one of these. Gave himself
That was a
plenty of
glorious
red cap,
Yorker,
didn't he?
well dug out. Actually, it was taken on the full by Jason Roy, who just bounced it into the ground and then almost over the point's head, and doesn't need to get much bat on it, as we were saying before, in order to get a 4.
He's ridden his luck a bit, hasn't he? But he's shown, I think, more intent, or he's looked more positive, I think, than to me in the first two at Lord's and at the Oval. He just looked a little bit hesitant and not at one with himself. Here he seems to be far more on the front foot, metaphorically and indeed in reality. He's on 24, Ben Stokes is on 13. England having to do some rebuilding, having lost both Bairstow and Root in the same over to Mohamed Siraj. It's the other Mohamed Shami who's in at the moment. Stokes defends, no run.
I missed out on tweets, and I'll just squeeze a couple in. Roger Melly says, hello, good evening, and bollocks. Mog says, no one suspects the butterfly. And Brian says, you reckon it's hot today? No way. Have a look at what it was in Saudi Arabia a few years ago, 55 degrees. It's actually currently only 26 at Old Trafford, which seems pretty ordinary to an Australian, anyhow.
Well, yeah, no, that's it is Manchester after all. This one's pulled by Ben Stokes. That's gone all the way to 4 through mid-wicket. Short from Shami, given the treatment by Ben Stokes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Again,
Another glorious shot there from Ben Stokes, quite safe along the carpet, and beautiful pull shot.
it was. It makes me wonder, Kat, why it's been the shorter ball that Stokes has by and large punished off Shami, or when he's overpitched. Good length balls have been fairly productive, or at least economical for him. So he's maybe he's just not quite finding his range. This is driven back past Shami with a beautiful high elbow, as gorgeous an off drive as you're likely to see for one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So Ben Stokes seems to be finding his range. That said, that looked a ball on a pretty decent length, didn't it? And it was just given the absolute treatment from Ben Stokes.
Probably slightly overpitched, as you said before, maybe. But I think I'd be keeping it full. That's how they've got their wickets so far. So I guess that's what they're planning. They're certainly not stemming the runs.
England move on to 46 for 2. Shami's in. Stokes advances to meet him, swings towards leg, and gets a bottom edge that ends up, were he right-handed, where I suppose leg slip would have been. And Rishabh Pant just jogs across the field, and they get a single. Brings Jason Roy back onto strike. 22 off 19 balls for Ben Stokes. 15 for Jason Roy so far, and he's got himself to 24.
Yeah, they're building a good partnership here, these two. And still about 80% of their runs in boundaries, which is a good start in the first power play.
Remember, World Cup average first innings score was over 300. In comes Shami. Back foot defence by Roy to short mid-wicket, no run. 47 for 2. Let's just trying to work
Speaking of
out.
boundaries, I'm pleased that the Blast had as their decider the score after the power play rather than counting the number of boundaries yesterday. It was completely mad.
It was a fantastic piece of entertainment. Yeah, well, I think we were all gripped by that, judging by our own internal chat group. Most of us were watching that. In comes Shami. Flicked on the bounce by Roy away through mid-wicket. He'll get 1. He should come back for 2 easily enough. I'm not sure they'll risk 3. I don't think they will. Prasid Krishna in his blue India cap does the fielding. It's the end of the over, and we will this time let Messi Jazz have a free run at messages.
Well, apart from a tweet from Leah about how to pronounce butterflies in various different languages, we do have a number of people with us on YouTube now, I'm pleased to say. And supposedly the bear asking for donations of beer, but not actually the bear, because the bear isn't actually in the studio today.
Well, he might. He's been. Well, he sort of is. His ghostly hand is fluttering across most of the technology, so he kind of is here. What's butterfly in German? I know French is papillon, but I wouldn't know what it is. Probably some very long, complicated word.
Schmetterling.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Schmetterling. So Schmetterling and papillon. That would be a good name
farfalla in Italian.
Like the pasta
in Spanish.
Is that like the pasta? Butterfly pasta, of course, farfalle.
Yes.
Siraj continues. Stokes pushes away to mid-wicket. In fact, has gone through mid-wicket. That looked like a bit of a clumsy misfield and gets him a single that Stokes probably shouldn't have had. So he'll move on to 23. Jason Roy on 26. And we're going through different ways that you can, different languages and the word for butterfly. So we've had papillon, farfalle, like the pasta, and schmetterling so far. What else can you tell us, Messers? Have you got any butterfly in any other languages?
Mariposa in Spanish.
Mariposa?
Yeah.
How useful is this if we go travelling? I mean, what sort of sentence are we going to be saying?
Hey, look
on
at
the
that
train?
gorgeous Schmetterling. Das ist ein gorgeous Schmetterling. 50 for 2. You see, it would be brilliant. Was Schmetterling ist das? Then you'd have to go into what type.
Like the pen of my aunt is about as useful here.
The plume de ma tante, absolutely. Jason Roy is going to be facing Siraj, who's over the wicket. Roy, back foot, guides him down to deep backward square, where it is just going to be hauled in short of the sponge, I think. And Roy will get 2. He's huffing and puffing a bit, but it is a warm day. He's on 28, 52 for 2 England. The 50 is up. 2 early wickets, both in the same over from Mohammad Siraj. Bairstow, a very strange shot with one, possibly a slower ball that rather foxed him, and he just looped a catch up to mid-off. And a superb delivery. This one pulled away belligerently and magnificently by Jason Roy to mid-wicket for 4. And still we see Hardik Pandya going through an elaborate series of sort of calisthenic warm-ups. So I'm sure we're going to see him fairly soon. Bit on the up
feels like
there.
that 1 over was a bit of an aberration. I mean, most of the time England have been scoring at will and getting the ball to the boundary, and we had just 1 over of Siraj magic, where
the ball that got
two
was
players out for a duck.
magnificent. In comes Siraj again, short, wristily whipped backward a point. Third man though will come round and field, and it will just get Roy another 2. But England keeping this score ticking along very nicely. And these two are doing a good job, considering there was that flurry of quite disastrous activity. 7.5.
So 9 runs already
run rate.
from this over. There were 11 runs off the previous over. So they're really keeping this moving as fast as possible.
7.5 is not too bad. I think these two will feel they're in now. They're hitting the balls that are there to be hit, and they're engineering runs off some of the ones that in theory less there to be hit. Siraj in again from the pavilion end, full, guided deftly down to third man by Roy. Just be a single there. England move on to 59. India played 3 times here at Old Trafford. They beat in the World Cup. They beat Pakistan and the West Indies, but they lost to New Zealand in the semi-final, of course, by 18 runs. Runs for Jadeja 77 and MS Dhoni on that particular day, with a combination of Henry and Santner and Bolt were just too strong for them in that semi-final. Don't know what happened to New Zealand when they got to the final there. Short, pulled by Stokes, cross with himself because he doesn't get hold of it, it just goes to mid-wicket. Yeah, really frustrated, he felt he should have done more with that. It's the end of the over, it's 59 for 2. Messers.
Oh dear God. Dave Wood inquires, he said, do we know if Lanky is okay after the mascot race? Well, I would have hated to be in that uniform for bloody 12 hours yesterday. It would have been incredibly uncomfortable, but he seemed to be okay. Now, this is where it gets tricky. He also says Welsh for butterfly is Glunbuir. Good luck, messages. I hope I got someone.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, Bob says in.
What was it? Say it again.
No, you heard it.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Good try.
I just said Blunweir. Blunweir, was that it?
Mog says it's Gillis in Sumerian, although they didn't differentiate between butterflies and moths, and butterfleur in Old English, Wilwaren in Quenya.
Oh, well, we are going to see a change of bowling. But it's not Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya is helping the new man to limber up, but it looks like Prasid Krishna is going to come into the attack. Do we even have him anywhere? Here he is, we do, what a miracle.
Do you want to play dirty with him? Do you think you can handle him? Prasid Krishna, Prasid Krishna.
And his first ball is defended to mid-wicket by Jason Roy, and there is no run. 26-year-old
and Krishna doing standing high double knee standing jumps to warm up. I haven't seen that before. That's quite a warm up.
Is that like you used to do in the gym at school, where you'd have to do sort of star jumps?
Yeah, star jumps.
What other people did in the gym?
He's together enough.
I remember doing those, didn't everybody? Krishna in, that one's uppish by Roy, as on the pull, actually evaded square leg and has gone for 4 runs again. It seemed a bit top edgy, but good enough for one of these.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball, 4 runs, I hit the ball, and it went for 4 runs.
It's also the 50 up for England in terms of the partnership of 51 now. Yeah, I think well done Jason Roy. He was fully aware where his field was there. And he,
so that means that Shami's having a bit of a rest, which is probably a good idea. But so far, we've had a 4 off early off every single
in comes
bowler.
Prasid Krishna. And this one is defended on this occasion by Jason Roy, and there is no run. Took 19 wickets in the IPL this year, did Prasid Krishna. At 29 for the Rajasthan Royals. His best bowling was versus the Delhi Capitals at the Wankhede, where he took the wickets of Warner and Rishabh Pant on that occasion. But rather oddly, I didn't say what his figures were, which is a bit daft. But obviously very good, and 2 prize wickets in the process. Sporting a closely cropped beard and a pair of Andy Caddick's ears, as this one is guided again just past the square leg umpire. They will take a single, bring Stokes back onto strike. Yep, the 50 partnership for the 4th wicket, went it? We lost 2. Yeah, first wicket, second wicket. No, 3rd wicket partnership. Actually, the 3rd wicket partnership here is held by Joe Root and Owen Morgan. 189 against Afghanistan. So in 2019.
Speaking of 4th, Tony, you might want to check if 4th is in the waiting room.
Oh, that's quite difficult to do. That's the problem with no monitor. So I have no idea. I can't see him. Is he on next?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he'll appear somewhere else.
I don't think we can admit him through Zoom. He has to be the the leader, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This one steered away towards mid-wicket by Ben Stokes. No run. As long as don't tell me he's on ball by. You're on ball by ball next, aren't you, Kat? Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Filthy on social. Al, who should already be here. Until I can get the monitor up, it's very hard. I don't see any evidence of him. Oh, hang on. Yes, I can. He's waiting to be admitted. There we go. Basically, everything's here, but just in a slightly different place to where you expect it to be. Is that magnificent old?
That sounds like my life.
Well, yes. or my house. After I've been told, don't worry, I've just done a bit of clearing up. As this one is guided again, quite riskily by Roy, down to third man, who's Vendra Chahal does the fielding. Another single. So Krishna's first over's gone for 7. England have moved on to 66 for 2. A 50 partnership and a bit more now between Jason Roy on 41, Stokes on 24. Messers.
The Dread Pirate Rowan is with us for the first time I can recall in a long time. Welcome back. She says, hello all, we've got your YouTube channel up on the telly. The only German I remember from GCSE many, many years ago is Was für Wurst haben Sie bitte, which is what type of sausages do you have? I've got one sentence of German that I know. Haben Sie einen englischen Zeitung, which I had at the age of 15 when I was in Germany.
Do you have an English something?
Newspaper.
Oh, newspaper,
yeah.
of course. Well, now you know
so
Schmetterling.
I could follow the county cricket scores. You know, this was 1966 when there wasn't a lot of internet around. Josie Oak looking for the positives says, morning, I see England getting their ducks in the row. Ticklish Anus says, butterfly is called Titli in Hindi and Hutki in Chinese.
Well, that's good.
And Mog says, I think I may have sent a less embarrassing jingle in for Krishna.
I can only deal with what's in front of me, Mog. But if it's there, I'll go and have a look for it later. I'm sure you probably did. 66 for 2, England. And we are going to see Hardik Pandya. All of that limbering up finally means we are going to see him in action. Whether we're going to hear anything about him, I don't know. I'll just have a little look as to if he's filed under Z for goodness knows what. He's going to be over the wicket to the right-handed Roy, who defends and pushes back to the bowler. And there is no run. Hardik Pandya, where on earth are you?
We're looking for his jingle, but just like Krishna, the very first delivery, they see him off, 1 dot ball, and then the next one will go all the way to the boundary, don't you reckon, Messi?
Every chance, I reckon.
Here he is.
Par for the course.
And in breaking news, Hardik Pandya.
Over the wicket, smashed, but smashed straight to backward point. There's a tight ring of 3. I sort of could have. I'm not quite sure. What would you call the position that isn't backward point but is almost next to it? A kind of a wide, short third man.
Yes, the second
Deep gully,
point.
a deep gully. You have that sort of position.
Maybe.
Then you have backward point, and then you have a man who's sort of just in front of point, but not far across to be cover. So they're really protecting for that cut shot, which they know Roy is favoured. Is one of his favoured shots. This one, though, he's rather uppishly, but safely enough, just sent towards Yuzvendra Chahal, who's now at mid-on. He's
Important
enjoying his day
question
out.
for you both. Before I go off, Printer Messi fan says, which is the best ODI jersey in the world? My choice is Australia.
Possibly. Oddly enough, it's not
I
something
like the
give a lot of
Bangladeshi
thought to.
one. It's got lots of colour in it.
Yes. 66 for 2.
On
3 balls
PNG
left.
when they were in that was T20, wasn't it?
Papua New
PNG
Guinea.
one was fantastic. Yeah.
How on earth do you know what? I could not remember what that was. I'm
Bird
sure it
of
was
Paradise on it. It was fantastic.
This one is thumped, but again not really connected with. It rather apologetically bumbles its way to mid-on, which is not what Jason Roy had in mind.
The last 2 deliveries handled by Roy, kind of agriculturally, he doesn't look like he's timing them very well against Hardik at all. But
he's bowled well.
3 dot balls. It's been a long time since we've seen 3 dot balls.
Yeah, well, four I think. Is none for none is Hardik.
4 dots. Yeah.
It's a very good first over. Slightly arrested what had been a pretty decent progress by Stokes and Jason Roy after the early loss of Bairstow and Root. Pandya, right arm over in, that's up in the air. Someone must be underneath that somewhere. They are, and Jason Roy has gone, trying to pull, top edged it. I think it was Rishabh Pant in the end who took it, wasn't it? But Hardik Pandya's done the job, and England have lost their main aggressor in Jason Roy, who's tilting his head back as his eyes close, and hopefully is walking in the right direction to the pavilion. 66 for 3, and well bowled. Hardik Pandya, in fact, a terrific over by him.
After you've gone.
I swear that was one of my golf shots. In that I knew it was somewhere in the air, but I had no idea where.
The camera couldn't track it either.
All round Old Trafford to try and figure it out, until I just finally saw it. Literally had gone literally nowhere, and up in the air it went, came down almost with snow on it into the gloves of Rishabh Pant, and England have lost their 3rd wicket. So what's that run rate now moving on to, or moving down to? How much have they brought it in? Well, no, still over 7.35. But they have lost Jason Roy, caught by Rishabh Pant off the bowling of Hardik Pandya, top edged, who's bowled beautifully as Pandya. 9 short of his 50, alas, for Jason Roy. There's still 1 ball left of this over, am I right?
One
Yes,
ball
you
to
are.
come.
I think there are. Well, as we're waiting for a change of wickets, do you want to squeeze in a few messages as well, Messrs?
Sure. Mrs. Luigi Magpie says, I officially have a nerd crush on Josh. Leah
Which
says,
Josh? Just to be clear, are we talking Butler or our Josh?
This is Josh rather than Joss.
Oh,
so
Josh.
I'm presuming our Josh.
Wow, there you go.
Here
is
the fact.
the England Joss.
Oh.
Sorry, go on.
Leah says the fact that Caddick was a fast medium bowler with those ears is proof that aerodynamics are overrated. And Mog says, I enjoy the colourful PNG caps. I'm just going to get a picture and retweet it of the PNG uniform.
In comes Pandya, he has a slip.
Old.
And Butler just eases his first ball away into the offside. It's the end of 10 overs, so the power play is complete. And England are 66 for 3. We will have a change of guard in the commentary box. I'm going to go and figure out if I can ever make the monitor work. Ian Forth is going to come into ball by ball. And,
I think I'm on socials, Tony.
Oh, you're on socials. Cat's on ball by ball. Thank you very much. And Al will join Cat, and off we go.
So 3 wickets down. It sounds like the tweets are up to date, so thank you very much to Messages. That is spectacularly good. And the run rate at the moment after 10 overs, 6.6. Pretty good, huh?
It's not going to... Well, it does something for everybody, isn't it?
It's always good when Ben Stokes is still around as well. We know it could be quite spectacular, and he is facing up. He's on strike at the moment. We're just about to head into the 11th over, and there are butterflies everywhere, Forthy. What do you think? What have you made of the butterflies?
Well,